All right, good morning. Again, I don't have that much of any idea on my mind, so I thought I would just talk about money. Um, so there's a lot of ways to talk. You know what a good thing is trends. That. There we go. Let's talk about trends when it comes to money. Okay, we've talked about money appeal recently, so and consumerism. So this is very close to it. This is similar. This is trends. Now, I actually previously, in one of the previous videos, when I was talking about money appeal, I talked about how 50 Cent came out with that song, I think in 2002 or 2003, in that club. And he had the iPod Walkman, and apparently that helped sell it very well, that iPad Walkman that he had. So anyway, so we're going back to trends. You know, they say that one person can make clothes trendy. You know what I mean? Or accessories or anything, anything when it comes to money. If you don't believe me, right? Okay, let's talk about Chris Brown, right? Chris Brown. I think that really in his early in his career, he was showing some kind of promise of trend setting. I wouldn't be surprised if he was selected by any kind of apparel or jewelry company or anything, even car company, to advertise their stuff. And he may have done it even up until recently, because a guy like that walks into the nightclub and everybody's, they advertise. By the way, nightclubs, they will advertise that, for example, Chris Brown will be coming and doing a 10-minute set at the nightclub tonight and hanging out here on Saturday night. And everybody who likes Chris Brown wants to be at that nightclub that day. You know what I mean? They might not even be interested in seeing Chris Brown. The fact that Chris Brown is there, it makes a lot of buzz. And when they go there, they're seeing people they know, and they're happier to see people they know, because they can say, hey, we're all hanging out, talking to each other. Guess who's in the club tonight? Yeah, I mean, that's a big trend. That's a big trend. I'll tell you, I could never be a trendsetter. I could never be a trendsetter. People would probably vomit before they would follow my trend. And I'm serious, very serious about that. And I'll explain. Let's get into it. So I've already told you that when I was younger, yeah, I mean, I bought clothes that were two sizes too big for me, so they were baggy, and that way I could, in 6 months, if I grew, the clothes were just a bit less baggy. That's all it was. So I would always buy bigger clothes that would last me longer. But even now that I'm older and growing and everything, I still, now I don't go that high as I would when I was a child, but I go just a little bit higher. You know what I mean? Just a little bit higher. I will tell you that the trend of the 90s, when there was a certain way that people in hip hop used to dress. Everybody wore baggy clothes. I'll tell you what's ridiculous. When I was in high school, and honestly, like, at that time, you don't really know anything. People are so young. They might look at some guys and go, "Oh, these guys are really cool, man. Oh, this guy is really cool. This guy's really cool. Why is he cool? I don't know. He's just a great person. He'll smoke people weed, and he'll joke around, and you know what I mean. We all think he's really cool and everything. He knows how to talk and he's cool and stuff." And I think back and I go, what the hell was wrong with this dude? Like, not just him, but there was quite a few dudes that I would see doing this trend. This is for when I was in high school, right? And I'm talking about early when I was in high school. It's ridiculous. Guys would, and I saw this not only in the school that I went to, I've seen it happen in other places. Guys would literally, like let's say a large tee fits them, a large t-shirt, a medium or large t-shirt fits them. You know what they would do? They would buy 4XL. They would buy 4XL, and the shirt would be down to their knees or lower. And I saw that happen and I was like, dude, this is so stupid. Like they would buy a hip hop shirt like FUBU. FUBU used to be big in hip hop in the 90s. A lot of hip hoppers used to wear FUBU. They wear or they wear some stupid type of gangster shirt. And it's below their knees, man. And I remember seeing that going, dude, that's so retarded. That is so retarded. Like honestly, that's so retarded. Honestly, you know what I mean? Anyways, so with me, I'll tell you, was I a trendsetter? I'll tell you, maybe in a way, but in an irrelevant way, and I'll explain it. If I did a trend in, let's say, 2006, if I did something, people wouldn't copy it till 2009 or 2010. You know what I mean? They first look at it and go, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's stupid. I wouldn't be caught dead looking like that. And a few years down the road, they go, that guy was so smart, man. I got to do this now. I got to do this now. You know what I mean? Let me do this now. It's crazy, man. I've seen all sorts of crazy trends come out, man. I've seen all sorts of crazy trends come out, man. You name it, man. You name it. I've seen all of it, man. I've seen all of it. Now, bandanas I won't diss, and I explain why. The reason I don't diss bandanas is because they come in one uniform design, typically. Now, if it's a weird bandana with like okay, so in Toronto, I'll tell you, a big trend is anything to do with weed. Okay, anything to do with weed. People in Toronto think that weed is the coolest thing ever. By the way, recreational marijuana is legal in Canada. Okay. But in Toronto especially, there's a big weed culture because people don't have much going on. I just tell you right now, honestly, there's not much going on. This is not a party city. This is not a fun city. This city is mediocre compared to some of the American cities. It's just a mediocre city, okay? I'm not saying it's small. I'm just saying it's a mediocre city. And I'm just being real. I'm not trying to diss, and it's not coming from a bad place. I'm just being real with it. You will find bandanas that have to do with weed. The weed culture is huge. Everything to do with weed. That's all they have is the weed. You know what I mean? Because weed is making you feel like what's going on in front of you is not going on in front of you. The life is not like what life is like. So you smoke a lot of weed. Everybody's smoking weed. Before it used to be the people only from certain backgrounds would. Now everybody smokes weed. Doesn't matter who you are. Chinese, Korean, Italian, Ukrainian, Russian, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Palestinian, Syrian, whatever you are, you know, everybody's into this weed culture. You know what I mean? Literally, people are wearing shirts. Bob Marley is the most, everybody's got a Bob Marley shirt. Bob Marley with the spliff in his mouth. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Design shirts are crazy here. You know why? Because when you go to the flea market, you can buy 3 tees for $10. And that's maybe now. I remember years ago it was like 3 tees for $7 or something. You buy 3 different graphic tees with designs on them. Now obviously they're cheap shit, but you can go and get a Bob Marley one, then you get a skull and all these bones and scary stuff smoking, and you get this and that. It's crazy, man. I honestly, I look back, every time I look back at myself, and it makes me think so highly about myself when I think about what I was doing. You know what I mean? I remember people would, there was a few people, they would make fun of the fact that I put coconut oil in my hair. So when I was about 14 years old and I was in high school, 14, 15 years old, what I used to do is I used to put coconut oil in my hair instead of gel. Now, I used to put gel in my hair when I was in 7th grade. When I was in 7th grade, I used to put gel in my hair. The problem with the gel you remember, I'll tell you a brand, Dippity Doo. You remember back in the day, it was cheap. It was like $3 for a bottle of gel, right? It would come in like a clear bottle, and it would be green or blue or something, the color of the gel. And it would be almost like slime. It would be like slime. Like it would look like slime, but it wasn't like, it was a little slimy. Well, what happens, you wet your hair just a little bit. If you wet your hair too much and you put the gel in, the gel would just slide out. So you would wet your hair a little bit, or you would take a shower, wet your hair, and then blow dry. Yeah, I use the blow dryer, to be very honest. So you would blow dry, and then like me, I wanted to spike my hair, so I had hair just long enough to spike, right? If it would get a little longer, I'd push it back, and I had a fade. I always had a fade. So What I would do is I would put the gel in, put the gel in. Now it's kind of gooey, you know what I mean? Gooey. Now I get out and I walk to school. It used to be a 45-minute walk to school. By the time I get to school, the gel has already hardened. So the hair hardens, right? The hair hardens. Now it looks really cool and it was in style at the time, but it was horrible for your hair. By the time you came back home at night, you had to shower, put shampoo in your hair, and and the gel would get out, but it was horrible for your hair. It was horrible for it. It would literally harden, especially if it's cold out. If it was cold out, the gel would just harden right away and your hair would just get hard. And I knew it was bad for my hair. So I find a coconut oil formula or coconut oil. I'm like, dude, this is natural, right? It was in putty form, so it was mixed with stuff. Do you know I used that up until 2015? 2015, you know what I mean? Up until 2015, I was still doing that. You know what I mean? And it was just fine. But by that time, my hair had changed structure. Not color, it changed structure. My hair just became thicker and stronger. And that was from my trips. You know what I mean? My trips to South America. To the hot equator line. So that was the deal with me. And then years later, people might go, oh, coconut oil is really good. But to this day, not many people do it. Anyways, what else? What about, my trends. I mean, nobody wanted my trends. My trends were unappealing. You know what I mean? I'm wearing clothes like basic Nikes and Reeboks and hoodies and stuff. Nobody wanted to copy me. You know what I mean? I had my own style and I was aloof about it, and so it was just not even considered. But I was in the shadow world then. But my trends weren't really the thing. You know what I mean? This doesn't count right now, man. I'm technically still incarcerated. You know what I mean? When I get out of incarceration, I'm gonna figure out what I like, what I want to buy. I'm gonna gauge the situation and see what it is, because it's gonna be nothing like prior to being incarcerated so many years ago. So at that point, I gotta figure out what the news everything is. There's really nothing else to say here. There's absolutely nothing else. There's absolutely nothing else to say. So we're gonna end it right here. And maybe try to come up with another video later on. All right.